Why Iran is terrified of this tiny U.S. missile. June 2025. During Operation Midnight Hammer, US F-35s suppressed Iranian air defenses without brute force. They used capacity. One F-35 can carry 20 air-to-air missiles instead of 4 when armed with Raytheon's Peregrine. Roughly half the size of an AMRAAM, it lets American fighters flood the sky from the same stealth bays. Modern air combat isn't about dogfights anymore. It's about who runs out first. And Peregrine turns missile volume into a problem Iran's air defenses were never designed to solve. Unveiling the new U.S. missile. In this era of modern warfare, every second counts and every missile could decide the fate of a fight. The United States has introduced the Raytheon Peregrine, a compact yet potent air-to-air missile born from a strategic desire to outmatch and outlast any threat in the skies. With this new U.S. missile being 6 feet long, 150 pounds, half the size of the missile it's replacing, an F-35 Lightning carrying it could launch up to 20 air-to-air missiles in a single sortie compared to the 4 it carries now. Unlike traditional air-to-air missiles, which are bulky, costly, and limited in number, this slender weapon packs advanced sensors, guidance, and propulsion into a smaller frame. It fits tighter spaces and unlocks tactical possibilities once reserved for movies. Even better, the cost per missile has dropped drastically as they embrace cutting-edge manufacturing techniques like additive production and make use of readily available components. It's now feasible for the U.S. Air Force to stockpile larger quantities without an overwhelming defense budget. Military strategists have called this a major leap forward in aerial warfare technology. As the world watches this compact missile rise, some nations are already recalculating their own aerial strategies in response to its emergence. And at the forefront of this is Iran. But why is Iran so terrified of this tiny missile? Before we discuss this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more coverage on the U.S. Air Force and its latest weapons. Iran is terrified of the Raytheon Peregrine. Iran's military planners have long relied on large numbers of missiles and drones as part of their defense strategy, and have always believed that quantity could overpower their adversaries and deter attacks. But now the new U.S. air-to-air missile concept is changing the equation in a way that keeps Tehran up late at night. The compact yet advanced weapon will dramatically increase the firepower of American fighter jets, allowing them to carry far more shots per mission than before. Instead of a handful of missiles dictating the pace of air combat, U.S. pilots could unleash a steady stream of precision-guided weapons, forcing adversaries to face sustained pressure from above. The result? The U.S. now has a greater degree of air superiority, and that deals a big blow to the confidence of nations like Iran that always saw their defenses as resilient. For Iran, a country with an arsenal of thousands of ballistic and cruise missiles, they might just be outgunned in the skies with America's new technology. While Iran's stockpile is vast, its air force and radar systems are largely aging and undersupplied, especially with decades of sanctions and limited modernization efforts. The U.S. aims to field fighters with a way higher engagement capacity per aircraft, not through stealth or speed, but sheer magazine depth. That means a future engagement could see American jets outlasting and outshooting their foes in prolonged encounters. The U.S. Air Force's new missiles are also affecting Iran's focus on quantity-based tactics. Iran has a strategy built on massed missile barrages and swarm attacks that saturate defenses. If fewer but better armed and more persistent U.S. aircraft can intercept those waves with greater efficiency, Iran has to improve its strategy or risk becoming obsolete. This missile will reshape regional balance and set the stage for how weapon size and design will dictate future aerial dominance, especially because of its compact build, which gives it a unique edge over other weapons. But while Tehran worries about being outgunned and outlasted by American fighters carrying far more missiles per sortie, there's a deeper secret to this threat that goes beyond firepower alone. The Peregrine has an almost counterintuitive advantage hidden in its compact size, leaving larger and heavier missiles scrambling to keep up. What's the edge that the U.S. Air Force's tiny missile has over others? The hidden advantage. What gives this missile its edge is the fact that it's radically smaller than anything that has come before. At around 6 feet long and roughly half the weight of traditional medium-range missiles, its compact design fundamentally changes how many rounds a fighter jet can carry into battle. In aerial warfare, magazine depth, which is the number of missiles an aircraft can bring to bear in a single sortie, is an important determinant of success. When the Chinese J-20s carry 6 missiles, while American F-35s carry 20, the mathematics of attrition warfare shifts so dramatically that numerical advantages become irrelevant. The U.S. Air Force has shrunk the physical footprint of the missile, so engineers have opened up vastly greater capacity within the same internal weapons bay. This allows the aircraft to carry 2 to 3 times as many shots without sacrificing their low observable profile. Although fighter jets can carry multiple missiles with this new system, it's not only about quantity, it's also about tactical flexibility in a contested airspace. Pilots carrying more missile loads can engage multiple threats, adapt to evolving battles in real time, and maintain combat effectiveness far longer than before. For stealth fighters that depend on internal weapons carriage to remain undetected, the new missile technology allows them to double or triple their arsenal without compromising their stealth or popping the external pylons. So the small size of the Peregrine allows American and Allied aircraft to outlast and outfight adversaries in conflicts. The implications of the new tiny missile for aerial combat are profound, especially when paired with other pieces of technology like guidance and seeker technology. Despite how small the missile is, its technology does not sacrifice capability for size, and the U.S. Air Force has equipped it with some of the most advanced systems ever fitted to a missile: high performance and propulsion. The true magic of the Raytheon Peregrine isn't just its smaller size, but the high-performance propulsion and dynamic maneuverability jam-packed into that compact missile. The U.S. Air Force has crafted a supersonic missile with a propulsion system built to give it brisk speed and agile motion in flight, even as it darts through complex aerial environments. This new technology somehow blends the medium-range reach of existing systems with the nimble turning ability more commonly connected to short-range dogfight missiles. It smooths the way for the weapon to chase or evade other airborne targets with remarkable ease. At the core of the tiny missile, there's a forward-looking propulsion section that pushes the missile to high speeds and supports sustained flight over long distances. The missile is designed to maintain quick acceleration and allow tight turns, especially during that endgame phase where the pilot expects the missile to strike. It can offer speed and responsiveness, especially by using lightweight airframes and modular control systems. This way, it can handle demanding aerial dynamics without giving up its precision. The U.S. Air Force didn't trade size for agility, and instead it offers a performance that might rival the most maneuverable legacy systems. At the same time, it fits in tighter spaces and boosts fighter loadouts. It's exactly this combination of propulsion, sophistication, and flight agility that makes the Peregrine stand out. But when you think it has it all, the U.S. Air Force has further enhanced its combat effectiveness with an impossible-to-shake feature: multi-mode seeker and guidance. If there's one feature that makes the Raytheon Peregrine so lethal, it's the multi-mode autonomous seeker and guidance system. This is a transformative piece of technology that gives the weapon its ability to sense and strike in ways older missiles cannot. Rather than depending on a single method to track its target, this advanced seeker blends multiple sensor types into a single system, so pilots can adapt on the fly when dealing with complex threats. The U.S. Air Force defense developers have already pointed out that this new approach is different from the singular radar or infrared homing systems used on legacy weapons. Instead, they combined multiple systems to create a resilient and versatile guidance package that can handle any situation. In practice, a multi-mode seeker means that when one tracking method becomes less effective, probably because of countermeasures, electronic interference, or adverse atmospheric conditions, the missile can switch between or combine sensing modes to maintain lock on a target. Infrared imaging allows it to track the heat signature of an aircraft, while active radar can continue to guide the weapon when the visual cues are obscured. With this hybrid sensing, pilots have a higher chance of maintaining a solid track from launch to intercept. This offers a form of built-in redundancy that boosts overall combat performance. Since the seeker is autonomous, that also means that the weapon can make decisions right in the middle of a flight. It can adjust its guidance based on incoming data instead of waiting for external commands. With its sophisticated sensing and guidance, This missile is now a truly potent threat, and this sets the stage for how it merges the range and autonomy of larger missiles with the agility of short-range systems. While the Peregrine's advanced seeker and guidance system can switch between radar and infrared tracking to stay locked onto its target in even the trickiest conditions, the real surprise lies in how this compact weapon can perform in flight. It blends the reach of longer-range missiles with the agility of close combat weapons. What exactly allows it to do both at once? Hey, if you're still watching, you're clearly into this as much as I am. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me what you think really gives this missile its unique edge in flight: hybrid performance. The Peregrine breaks a long-standing rule of air combat, that missiles must sacrifice agility for range, or range for agility. This weapon does neither. Instead of forcing pilots to choose between engaging targets at a distance or turning quickly in a dogfight, the U.S. Air Force has created a missile that aims to do both. Its design intentionally integrates the reach and autonomous guidance traits expected from a medium-range missile, like the AMRAAM, with the swift, agile movement seen in short-range systems like the M9X. All these features are within a compact package that expands a fighter's tactical envelope without compromising stealth or payload capacity. The hybrid performance is the result of a careful balancing of propulsion, control systems, and aerodynamic design, so the weapon can react quickly in the terminal phase of an engagement while still reaching out to intercept a target before it closes to visual range. By borrowing elements of proven concepts and rethinking how they fit together in a smaller frame, this tiny missile represents a new class of air-to-air capability that stands between the traditional medium and short-range roles. U.S. defense developers within the Air Force suggest that this form of versatility will let the pilot engage a wider range of threats in a single mission. This reduces the need to carry multiple specialized missiles for different firing conditions. By combining performance traits from different kinds of missiles, it can keep pace with both distant and close-in engagement. But the U.S. Air Force has also figured out how to ensure lethality on impact with the weapon: blast fragmentation warhead. Beneath the body of the compact Peregrine weapon, there's a blast fragmentation warhead. This is a type of explosive payload engineered to create a lethal cloud of high-velocity fragments at the moment of strike. Unlike some warheads that depend mostly on visual impact, the blast fragmentation design will detonate when it's close to its target, propelling shards of metal outward in all directions. Those fragments increase the odds of inflicting critical damage, even if the pilot doesn't achieve a perfect hit. At speeds and distances involved in aerial combat, even a near miss can send enough shrapnel to take down an enemy jet. This type of warhead isn't something new, but it has been part of air-to-air engagements for decades because it compensates for small margins of error when a pilot is hitting a fast-moving target in three-dimensional space. When the explosive charge detonates a short distance from the target, the expanding cloud of fragments will spread outward fast enough to tear into wings, control surfaces, engines, or critical internal systems. That means even if the U.S. is facing an agile aircraft with evasive maneuvers, once they send the Peregrine out, their opponents will be vulnerable. In a tiny missile that balances agility and compactness, the blast fragmentation warhead strikes an effective balance. It's powerful enough to destroy airborne threats, but light enough to fit inside a small frame without compromising performance. Engineers are looking to perfect this design, and the missile's reduced production cost is expected to reshape the dynamics of future air warfare. But here's something that might surprise you. While the Peregrine is built with cutting-edge features, from its sophisticated multi-mode seeker and dynamic propulsion to its lethal blast fragmentation warhead and compact size, one might assume that this innovation would be very expensive for the U.S. Air Force to produce and deploy. Yet this new technology actually costs way less to build and maintain than the legacy air-to-air missiles, thanks to a design that embraces readily available materials and additive manufacturing. So, how does the Air Force create a cutting-edge compact missile at such a low cost, cheaper than expected? Cutting-edge weapons often come with astronomical price tags, but this new U.S. air-to-air missile turns that expectation on its head. It packs sophisticated guidance systems, high-performance propulsion, and a compact yet lethal warhead. But the weapon is designed to be significantly cheaper to manufacture and procure than the legacy air-to-air missiles. The design of the Peregrine takes advantage of additive manufacturing through 3D printing and readily available off-the-shelf components. These are approaches that reduce both production time and cost without having to compromise capability. But the cost savings also depend on strategic design choices. Since the Air Force makes this missile smaller and lighter, roughly half the size of typical medium-range air-to-air weapons, the production needs fewer raw materials per unit. The Air Force is pretty much getting more shots for less money. And while the economics of producing this compact missile are remarkable, the real strategic impact also comes from how widely it can be deployed across the fighter fleet. Widespread compatibility and capability. Peregrine is presented with advanced internal systems at a fraction of the price. But what makes it the best part of the Air Force's future today is the ability to integrate with a wide range of fighter aircraft already in service. It is designed to be compatible with both fourth and fifth generation jets, and this new technology doesn't demand extensive redesigns of existing launch systems. The missile can be carried on existing pylons and fit into internal weapons bays where available, allowing aircraft like the F-35 to maintain their stealth profiles while carrying more missiles than before. Even older fourth-generation fighters, such as F-15s, F-16s, and similar platforms used by U.S. allies, stand to benefit. With the smaller and lighter frame, this missile increases the number of shots these aircraft can take into battle without exceeding payload limits. Another key advantage lies in its all-conditions operational capacity. It is engineered to perform equally well at night and in adverse weather, so the weapon's guidance and seeker systems are built to detect and track threats, even when visibility is poor or atmospheric conditions are challenging. The Peregrine effectively expands the tactical horizon for American and Allied air forces alike, setting the stage for the next discussion on how its compact design contributes to lower overall production costs. While most headlines focus on stealth jets and hypersonic weapons, the Raytheon Peregrine shows that the future of air combat may be decided by something far smaller. More missiles per aircraft, longer endurance in contested airspace, and lower costs combine to flip the math of modern warfare. That shift forces adversaries like Iran to rethink long-held assumptions about air defense. So what matters more going forward? Stealth, speed, or missile capacity? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the subscribe button for more breakdowns of the weapons shaping modern air power. You'll also want to check out our previous video on the AMRAAM's replacement and why it's terrifying.